Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from Tinaheals.com, and this video is about the meeting, the fateful meeting, shall I say, of Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn. The last time Jupiter and Pluto met was sometime mid-December 2007, and this was in Sagittarius. And now they met again in Capricorn, and Capricorn is cardinal and earth, nocturnal, dry and cold, and Saturn's domain, right? So what can we expect? So well, let's go back in time. 1981, okay, we had the outbreak of HIV when Pluto and Jupiter met, and look, at this time we are all confined, which is Saturn, confined in our very own homes without knowing what tomorrow brings. And Pluto rules viruses, and Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So we saw the epidemic of the AIDS virus in 1981, and with this fateful meeting that took place on the 4th of April 2020, we saw the world in lockdown because of COVID-19. So there will be two more fateful conjunctions of Pluto and Jupiter, and this is sort of something that is a lingering energy in the background that we will consistently keep feeling. So we had the exacting on the 4th of April. The second one is 30th of June, right? And when both planets are retrograde. And then we have the third one, which is November the 12th. Okay, this is the final conjunction, and then they part ways, and Jupiter heads off into Aquarius to meet Saturn on December the 21st. Okay, at 0 degrees of Aquarius, bringing to us the glory, not the full glory of the age of Aquarius, but a very glorious Aquarian aura about things. And because this is the age of Aquarius and it's dawning, we all operate from the Aquarian ascendant or Aquarian rising. Okay, so now Jupiter is masculine, right? And is diurnal, a day planet, does well in day charts, and is hot, moist. It's a gas giant, okay? And that means it expands forever, okay? Now it's airy, sanguine. It's called the Great Fortune, and also in the tarot it's associated with the Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter, okay? It's justice. Now some people that Jupiter rules, judges, senators, bishops, priests, university students, lawyers, okay, and some of the organs and illnesses. So Jupiter rules the left ear, and it also rules farmers and breeders. Okay, so Jupiter in detriment right now, meeting Pluto, could see also, you know, a complete rebirth of puppy mills, the breeding animals for money. It's definitely undergo a severe transformation. Now, certain issues with Jupiter that can arise. Liver issues, okay? Inflammation of the lungs, and this is related to the coronavirus directly, because Pluto, I'm telling you guys, is viruses. Yes, Neptune as well, but Pluto is viruses. Okay, and now with Jupiter and Pluto meeting on 4th of April, and Jupiter rules the lungs, so you see how precarious things can get. Okay, and palpitations. Okay, so we have more angst, trembling of the heart, cramps, pain in the backbone, okay, vein issues like varicose veins, problems in the ribs, right, and blood corruption and fevers. All this is ruled by Jupiter. So Pluto is of course Hades, so the god of the netherworld, which is rebirth and death. Death and rebirth, the cycle of life. That's why it's plutonic. Okay, it can be destructive, but ultimately it's transformational. So Pluto, you have to approach Pluto as a very paradoxical energy. Okay, it's not something that is 1 + 1 = 2. It's very paradoxical. You need to be a philosopher to truly understand Pluto. Now, works very subversively because Pluto deals with big power. So it also works in bringing down that big power, and it works very subversively. So we've seen how the virus has infected our lungs so subversively. Okay, I had said that Saturn-Pluto conjunction can bring war, and we are at a type of war. We are in a war of sorts with an unknown virus, invisible virus, not unknown, invisible virus, unknown to our eyes, because we've not really seen COVID-19, we've just seen representations of it, right? And those can be manipulated. I'm not saying they are or they're not, but understand the depth of this. The Pluto and Jupiter meeting is very depthful. Now, this is extreme power. Jupiter and Pluto, Jupiter the greater benefic, and Pluto with his atomic power. This is big power, big corruption, big money. In fact, Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions are known as the millionaire's conjunction, because millionaires have also been made now recently. Okay, and tons of people have made a lot of money. Okay, so and with Pluto and all things plutonic, it raises some sort of primal fear within us. With the hair standing on the nape of our neck, our hair just standing straight, and there's some kind of very primeval fear that Pluto raises, because it deals with the unconscious. And what is there in the unconscious? All the shadows of humanity. So what if we are like in Plato's myth of the caveman, we are the cavemen, and we are just watching shadows go by, and we think they are reality. Okay, so this sort of brings about a lot of philosophy and depthful thought as well, because Jupiter's higher education. So higher education is having a rebirth of sorts, because once AI has established itself, it's not about bookish knowledge or bookish information. It's about how you can practically and creatively innovate and engage with the process. That is what is going to keep humans a step ahead of AI. Our creative thinking, our compassion, our empathy. Okay, it is deep-seated, deep-rooted. Even if you don't feel it, it exists. So when you look at Pluto, okay, in your chart, you will also see that Pluto represents how power will be exerted. Okay, say for instance Pluto's in the second house. It could mean that this person's income is hidden, or his power comes through money and resources, literally. Like Pluto in the third, his power comes from communication. How you exert power in the world is what Pluto will tell you by house. Okay. Now, the nefarious side to this is Pluto is very open to operating within the status quo, within legal parameters, as well as operating outside of legal parameters. So Pluto does not have the Jupiterian justice-oriented thought process, okay? But Pluto is more dualistic. He can switch from one polarity to the other. Whereas Jupiter, yes, Jupiter can be a malefic because Jupiter expands, but at the end of it, Jupiter is the greater benefic, and is known as Guru or Brihaspati, because he literally shields us from harmful objects that could hurt us, that come hurtling at us through the solar system. but Jupiter with his ginormous size actually protects us. So you see, astronomically as well as astrologically, he's our protector. So there's big power with this, big expansion, right? Now the thing with Pluto is Pluto always brings about healing. Okay, it operates in such a way that it brings about a crisis, and then crises, and then you have to find a way to galvanize yourself into action and to solve that particular or those crises that have arisen. You are galvanized into action basically with Pluto in a way, okay, more forcibly, although it's a generational planet and what have you, but it's the higher octave of Mars, so it's very action oriented, okay. So it is a planet of healing crisis. So ultimately when you resolve that crisis, you're healed. So Pluto in the second house may mean financial distress, and you're being put into situations that you don't know how to operate out of, how to get out of, okay, because you're financially, either you're bankrupt or something, but you have to solve that. And once you solve that, you're going to not only become financially abundant and truly independent, but you will be able to galvanize others into action. So this becomes for you a healing crisis, okay, and that's how healing occurred, because you solved that crisis. So that's how Pluto operates. Remember that. And it breaks things down because it is atomic, okay, it's nuclear power, so it is reducing things to its smallest components, okay, and that's what it is doing to all Jupiter ruled things, okay, like education, travel. Look at the travel industry, okay, yes, they're getting bailouts, but they really had to take a hit, and we still don't know when traveling is going to be normal. What Saturn in Aquarius is literally going to allow us, we don't know yet. So the thing is, because it's subversive and it deals with extreme power, Pluto deals with organized crime, okay, like the mafia. It is plutonic. Oligarchs, okay. Now basically, if you look at what is happening with Pluto and Jupiter is Jupiter is literally being taken by Pluto on a plutonic journey of transformation, a sort of dark night of the soul, and Jupiter is already in detriment, okay, and Pluto's been here since 2008, cementing his energies. So Jupiter is feeling all out of sorts and is being taken through the netherworlds, through the unconscious, to bring light, okay, to expand those issues. So basically this is a huge physical and a psychological transformation that we've all collectively gone through because of Pluto and Jupiter. They've taken us on this really cathartic, they're taking us, not taken us. The first, we got an idea of what it would be with April 4th, but now what? Okay, we have tons to see, tons. So this in a way could be like heaven meets hell, because Zeus is Jupiter, who's the god of gods, right? And Hades is the god of death, or the god of netherworld. So heaven meets hell. So a lot of that symbolism could come out, because Pluto's subversion, really, it can be very, very much a malefic, higher octave of Mars after all. So basically coronavirus, what I think, is connecting us to some sort of bardo stage. Okay, if you know about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, then you know about the bardos, the 9 bardos. So now the coronavirus is taking us collectively and individually through a very, very profound bardo stage. Are we going to accept the change that Pluto wants to bring to the institutions that Jupiter rules, to the people that Jupiter rules? Because Jupiter rules very regal people, very powerful people, and to bring true change, something needs to be worked at from the brass root tax, if you ask me. So that is what Pluto is doing, breaking everything down. So everything within Jupiter can be optimized, because after all, this is a rebirth. Jupiter is ready to meet Saturn after this intense meeting with Pluto. And don't forget, Saturn and Pluto just met. Okay, and they hadn't met in Capricorn for like 700 years. So it was definitely a very profound time. It is, and it continues to be so for humanity. I told you before that we will never forget the coronavirus. When I made the video sometime in February, I told you that the world will change. I cannot tell you exactly how, I cannot tell you exactly when, but I promise you that the world you knew pre-2020 will just exist in the past, in our dreams, in our collective memory. But in the future, everything is going to change. And the age of Aquarius is about embracing that change. So are we ready? Are we ready as individuals and as a collective to embrace those changes and to truly allow the rebirth to take place? So I hope you like that video. Comment, subscribe, share, and please let me know what you think. Consider becoming a patron or book a reading. Thank you.